Welcome to part 3. So we are going to be trying to answer all of the questions about the pond today. First off, everybody likes to ask, where's the water come from? Do we have a spring? Is it hooked up to a well? How are we getting water in the pond? Well, God, that's how we're getting water in the pond. So we have right here, we have a little tube that goes to the pond there, and that tube comes from, or the water from that, I have a long side of the barn here, no gutter, it goes down, the water comes and it goes through the tube into the pond. Besides that, I tried to slant all the sides to the pond itself, and that's how water gets in there. So here is the finished product. There's the tube right there. Here's the finished product of the pond. It is quite low. You can see over there, there's the overflow. And so usually the pond is up to about that level, but we're in a drought here in 2024. And so we got a low pond. However, in the past, when we've had droughts or really dry seasons, the entire pond would dry up. So this is actually way better than it could be. On the side of the pond, we did use crushed brick. And where did we get crushed brick? Well, we had brick, and so we hit it into smaller pieces and we laid it in here in the spots where there was no rock. Besides that, all of this rock actually came from the pond, along with the large boulders that you see on the side of the pond. A few of them we pushed in, but we kept some just so people don't try to drive in the pond or anything like that. These were the only rocks original to the pond build. What type of fish do we have in there? Another great question. So all of the fish that were in the pond before we started the build, we took out. There was quite a bit of goldfish. We took all them out and we put them in those little koi ponds around. People had a few of those that they took the fish in for us. Besides that, we had some bass. We had a bunch of bass in there. We took those out and we put those in ponds around us as well. There was 2 large catfish and a few smaller catfish. We took those out and put those in other ponds, and I think that was it. Oh, there was a crappie and a few bluegill. Those were all relocated. The only fish that came over to this one was, there was a large bass. It was probably a female. I put it in here just so it has a good a base for breeding stock. The rest of the bass and everything where they were taken. So when we redug this out, after we got a few good rains and I could see that the water was kind of settling, like as far as like in pH level and all that, I went to a fishery, freshwater fishery in Urbana, Ohio, and we bought a dozen bass, largemouth bass, and those bass are supposed to be some hybrid to where they get larger than a regular bass. I do not know. We will see. So we bought them, and they were about 6 to 8 inches when we bought them, and now when we catch them every now and then, they're probably about 12 inches. Along with those, we bought about a dozen perch, and they were about 6 to 8 inches. And since it was the springtime, they were supposed to be pregnant, and we put those in there, and they're about 12 inches now as well. We put 8 catfish that were about 4 inches. We have not caught any of those, but I'm assuming those are way in the bottom of the pond and they're eating dead matter and stuff like that. They're not really coming up for anything that we know of. And we put in a few hundred shiners and a few hundred minnows, which you could see the minnows. That's what's all around the edge of the pond. These minnows just go crazy. We'll try to get pretty close here. Also, what we have done is about once a week, I'll go buy like 6 goldfish and put them in here. Why the goldfish, you ask? Well, it's a farm pond, and so it's a farm pond. You see all the minnows. They range in size, so they are breeding, which is exactly what we wanted. There's a bigger one and a bunch of little ones behind it. and they're fun to watch, the minnows are, but they get eaten a lot by the bass. The bass will just come up here and crash the sides over and over and over again. So the goldfish are prolific breeders, okay? In this pond, like it doesn't overflow into anywhere else. So they're gonna be in here and stay in here. I want the goldfish to be bait for my predator fish. So right now we only have the bass in there and perch, but perch don't eat a whole lot. But right now we have the bass in there. So I hope that the goldfish will kind of breed and breed and breed and breed, and then that will actually prompt me to get more predator fish such as crappie. And then once that happens, and then I'll probably get a few more bass and crappie, and then they'll have plenty to eat, okay? If the amount of goldfish starts to take over, I think I can think of ways to get rid of them to where it's not damaging the ecosystem of my pond, okay? We also put 4 white Amurs in here, or Amurs, however you want to pronounce it. They're basically sterile grass carp. When we bought them, they were 12 inches long. Right now, they're about 18 to 1.5 inches long, and they have cleared out all vegetation. So there's no cattails in here now. There is no algae. They will eat it all. And they say you can add 1 or 2 more every year, but I don't think I need to add any unless I can see that they died over the winter. But as of right now, they are doing just fine. So that's all the fish we have in here, and that explains what we did with the other fish that we took out of here. Now, common problems that you're going to see when you're digging out a pond, or at least what I've seen, is erosion, and we'll go over to the best example of those now. So this area over here, all we did was, when we took the big excavator in, we kind of chunked out below the water line, okay? Now, is there more to get taken out? Oh yeah, I would love to take out, you know, more and more and more. You see all around the edge of the pond, you're gonna see movement. That's all those minnows. And on this side of the pond, we brought the pond side back. When we did that, we created a lot of dirt, first of all, on the side here, and then also kind of like a straight edge. Well, when we did that, I accounted for this. I thought this was going to happen, and it did. Basically, the edge kind of goes out, okay? And in some areas, way worse than others. The water finds the path of least resistance. So when water runs down my driveway here, it's going to find wherever it can go out, and it's going to, like, it doesn't care if there's dirt here or not. It's going to create its own pathway down to the water. So every time we see that, we try to throw a bunch of rocks in there, because if we don't, it will just create its own path. Now, what I should do is just get some black pipe, find the lowest point, and make it like a drain to where water can go in there. I haven't yet, because just because this is the lowest point today, you know, in a week, if water started taking out this stuff, because all this is left over from when we dug out the pond, so there's like an inch or 2 of dirt here, still where it needs to go somewhere, and it's just not. So I don't want it in a pond though. So future plans would be take all the boulders and put them off to the side, bring in another excavator, clean up the edges again, and have the dirt hauled out of here again. Maybe in like a year or 2, that could be something that could be done. But as of right now, it doesn't need to be done. Like, it's fine. The pond is fine the way it is. It is accomplishing what I want it to accomplish, which is to hold bigger fish and to have fun with my kids and all that. So when we dug it out, we kind of stopped right here, and that's evident by the side right here. You can see where it's more shallow, and over there especially. So all of this was kind of original and could use, this is all basically the silt. So it's really mushy in there. There's like a foot of basically muck that could get taken out if anybody wanted the dirt. And I'll be like, hey, you get an excavator over here, let's make the pond bigger and you can have the dirt. As you can see, all the minnows are crazy. Oh, that was one of the white aimers. They come up, they take stuff off the surface, and they make a large rings over there. So the erosion will probably be a problem in the future. What am I going to do about it? I don't know yet, but I'm hoping that it actually kind of settles itself out over winter. I will probably frost seed some grass. That would also help. And also I'll fill in the low spots with rock like all winter, and hopefully that will help as well. Yep. So that's that. The color of the pond. Some people think that it has pond dye in it right now. There is no pond dye in this right now. So what we did is, when we dug it out, and I have a little vein of it here. When we dug this pond out, we hit large pockets of this blue clay. This blue clay right here. We hit very large pockets of this blue clay especially when we were digging that hole. So what happened was, when water was going through that clay and gets mixed with that clay, it turns the water this color, which is really, really cool. And I love this color. It is like a greenish blue, but almost like a tropical blue, like you're going to the beach. So it is really cool. Some other questions that people have asked. Do we swim in the pond? Yes and no. The pond is here for if anybody wants to swim in it, my son and any of his friends. However, because of that deep spot, really, it's really cold, actually. And my son will tell you, like, in the middle of summer, he tried to swim on it, and he said, like, the first, like, 12 inches of the pond is good, but once you, like, put anything past that, it's extremely cold. So that deep spot is basically cooling the rest of the pond. So yeah, there you go. So it is, in case anybody wanted to swim in it, it's there. But I don't see anybody wanting to swim in it a lot. Now, that may change in the future. Someone may be like, I want to go swim in the pond. And I'm like, go ahead. But until that point, no, it's just here. We fish in it, and we can put the kayak in it, or any of the kayaks. We can put them in it, but it's not very big, obviously. And then, so we'll move around to the creek side now. So the creek is dry right now, which is fine. But whenever we get more rain and stuff like that, then the creek will fill up and the fish will actually come over here. You can see deer are walking through there. That's a deer track. Right there's a few deer tracks. So this is the creek area. Starts right there, which that end wall has not eroded out as much as I actually thought it would. Now the sides a little bit, yes, but the water, when it rises, so if we get some good rains, the water will rise and kind of go through here, and it stops right here at this first hump, and then at that first hump right there, and then once it gets above that, then it'll kind of go over here. And but it hasn't been like that since probably, I would say, June. But in June, like there was fish in here, like they were coming over here on this side, and then as it dries up, they obviously move, towards the deeper water. So that is that. If anybody has any other questions or comments or anything like that, feel free to leave it in the comments below, and I will try to answer your questions the best I can. All of the machines that you saw, I rented one, which was the little excavator in the beginning, and then for the rest I kind of traded beer, pizza, and diesel to kind of borrow them, and dirt. And like, I paid one of the guys, if he had extra time, I would say, hey, look, I'll pay you like 20 bucks if you come and work on the pond. If I see you out here, I'll bring you a 20. So he would come out and work on it every now and then. Yeah, that's kind of how the pond was redug out. I'm pretty happy with it. Like I said, I do have areas I would want to make deeper from here over. The whole creek area I would make a little bit deeper, and then this whole side that has caved in, basically I would dig out again just to have that deeper. But yeah, thanks for watching. Share the channel, share the video, and I hope you like it, and God bless.